So today we're reviewing
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
So we just got back from seeing Godzilla, King of the Monsters, opening night Thursday. I don't know if every theater shows it Thursday, but we just came back. So what are your initial thoughts about the Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
I really like this movie. It's probably my favorite MonsterVerse movie to this point. Out of the three films that have been made, obviously these two plus this one, it's just nonstop kaiju action. Some really funny one-liners. The special effects are great. There was actually some emotion throughout this movie, which a lot of reviewers act like there's no emotion. I mean, I thought there was some really good emotion in here. There's really not many negatives in this film for me, except for maybe some like slight nitpicks. What we're getting here is just awesome stuff, and I really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, I definitely liked this movie. The visual effects are definitely great. There's so many monster moments. I've heard people complain there's too much monster moments, which I don't think is even possible. But yeah, it goes like, there's definitely so many monsters. There's rarely a break from seeing a monster on screen, which is so great. And yeah, visual effects are great. There's very interesting characters, and I was definitely well entertained throughout a lot of this movie. I do have some negatives, but for the most part, it was mostly positive.
So,
yeah, there's non-spoilers, so we're not going to be talking about any spoilers, because there are a good amount of spoilers. I did not expect a lot of the things that happen.
Really, the stuff you see from the trailers is what really you see. One of my favorite things of this movie are just some of the shots you see in this movie are just awesome shots that are like the wide shots before a fight starts or as things coming in. Like those shots are just amazing, and there's certain shots that like with the moon in the background, lightning striking behind someone, all the basically just action, just like destruction going on, just looks so realistic. And in the end of this movie, when everything's just going crazy, there's just so much going on. Like I can't get into it right now, but the way they pull it off is really good. I mean, there's some characters in here I really liked, especially like I thought the comedy worked for the most part. A lot. I'd say 80 to 85% of the comedy worked in my opinion. I was laughing throughout the movie.
Yeah.
There was also I would say. I definitely like the kaiju in this movie as well. So, I mean, I liked almost everything in this movie.
Yeah, the kaiju are definitely the biggest part. I really found myself, obviously Godzilla, you gotta like Godzilla. We've already seen him in a movie, and he's definitely amazing in this movie. But Mothra, Rodan were great. Mothra really was good in this movie. Honestly, the best entrance scene might have been Rodan's, honestly. Just the way his scenes were pretty good, but... And then King Ghidorah is obviously awesome with a lot of things they do with him, which I did not expect. And you definitely get a lot of screen time of King Ghidorah and what he can do. Yeah, no, King Ghidorah is definitely amazing. And that rematch, the Mega Kaiju vs. King Ghidorah, we definitely are going to do a part 2. And we'll get into spoilers, but definitely some things change after watching the movie.
Yeah, man, I definitely like there's a lot of surprises. Like, you think... The trailers, like, for my opinion, this is nowhere near what Kong Skull Island showed, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie that you had no idea about. From really, unless you're like us and you watch the trailer a million times, you might actually catch things. But if you just watch the trailer once, some things happen so quick in those trailers you would never even guess what happens in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some really cool stuff here. There was not one character that annoyed me, which is pretty surprising. There were some characters in here going in that I was like, one of these guys or someone's going to be annoying. I'm not going to like them on screen, but in my opinion, no one was annoying. Like, no one tried to make the focus be on them. Like, it was always about the kaiju, which is what's great about this. So
yeah, there were definitely. I mean, unlike there were a couple moments where it was really emotional, and some moments where you really had to. It was really not hard to watch, but there were a couple moments I did not expect the way they went with things to happen the way it did, and. After, obviously, we broke down so many Godzilla, King of the Monsters, like, moments in the trailers and guest things, but it's definitely some very surprising moments we'll have to get to into spoilers.
Just get into some negatives.
Yeah.
My negatives are really a lot of nitpicks. Like, one nitpick is the score wasn't as good as the first Godzilla. Even though the score's been a little bit weak in this one and in Kong Skull Island, because they're just not, it's not memorable. Like, I can't think of the score for Kong Skull Island. I can't think of the score for... this one, Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I can still remember Godzilla's theme from the first Godzilla, just that music in the trailer and the beginning and the credits. It's like that whole score is just. I was just hoping for more of like a keep doing Godzilla's theme song or just come up with some kind of like not even a song, just some kind of like beat in the background. So really, the music was kind of weak for me, and also, and this is really a nitpick. Some of the battle scenes are that I do agree with Jeremy to a certain point. Like it was close a little bit, but you see a lot of stuff that's going on. I mean, you're kind of seeing it from the perspective of the humans going around, but you do get a lot of shots from far away too. So I mean,
yeah, I do agree. There are certain times where they'll cut back to the humans. Right, if something's going down, you kind of are like, okay, I want to stay on this the whole time, but you really do. Towards like the third act of this movie, you get plenty of action, and really you get it throughout the movie. So that's why when it does cut away, you get so much of it that it's really hard to complain about that at all.
And that's the whole that's the whole point why it's a nitpick is because that you see kaiju in this movie literally probably 90% of the movie to be honest. So they kind of did need to kind of have scenes where you weren't always seeing it on the screen because then that would have maybe hurt the CGI overall because you can't. I mean, I can only imagine how much money and time that's spent to do all those shots. So because there weren't no monsters like being filmed in the movie, so
yeah,
they had to put that up there themselves. So it really. That's why I'll give them a break on that because they did have a lot of cool shots and scenes of them. The storyline was easy enough for me to follow. I was never confused. I mean, there's really never if you're really trying to like really think about it, then nothing's gonna ever make sense. But like you're just trying to figure out like no one knows what's going on in this entire movie. Like there's so many scenes where like someone's like, oh my god, or like bad news, we just lost this guy, like all this stuff. Like that's always going on. So you should know all you should know is like kind of the basis, and you do know what's going on. You know, there's a good group and a bad group. You see from the trailers, and they're trying to do their things, and it wasn't confusing to me.
Battle.
Yes, I mean I don't understand what was so complex. So Chris and Jeremy, I'll get some of my 10-year-old friends from summer camp to tell you this, and to explain to you the super complex storyline here.
You know, seriously, I know people have probably said this a million times already, but you go to these movies to what they advertise, and it's giant monsters fighting each other.
That came through.
That's what you go to see this movie for. Ultimately, you don't go to see complex plots. I mean, that's just exactly what you go to see that for, and you see so many kaijus.
Did you have a negative?
Yeah, well, my really only negative was just basically what you already went over with how they would, when they were fighting, they would cut back to the humans, you kind of see them far away, and that happened a good amount in certain parts, but there's just so much action that, like I said, it kind of just cancels it out. But why don't we get into our grades?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I like these. I gotta give this director and this movie credit for giving us kaijus, listening to the fans. There's not many companies anymore that listen to fans anymore. Nowadays, they'll just say "F you fans," and they're just gonna just do what we don't want to see. For me, this is a really good movie, a really great movie in my opinion. Really fun, great kaiju action, characters I liked. Wasn't as good as characters as Kong Skull Island, even though.
It's hard to beat.
Because really, that one had less characters. This one had a lot more people being involved. So really, when I say good characters, I mean like cartoony, like every single time they were on screen was funny. Like each one had their moments. I feel like, but I mean, I feel like I have to give this movie. And like I said, my complaints over the score, which is really not that much of a complaint, and then a little bit of a nitpick. So I have to give this movie a 10 out of 10 because I went for kaiju action. I went for some funny one-liners. And a fun movie, and I had fun with this movie. So I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about my grade. I just know, obviously, you go to this movie to see giant monsters fight each other. Just like how I went to Pacific Rim Uprising, wanting to see giant robots fighting giant monsters, and that's what you get. And in this movie, there's just so many kaijus, and there's just the introductions for each one are so cool, and you get so much. I mean, it barely goes 2 seconds. Someone sits down. 2 seconds later, you hear a growl, and there's already another monster on screen. I mean, it's just like the whole thing. And that's kind of the way I thought about Jurassic World. They showed a bunch of dinosaurs, and that's what you want to see. And there's a lot of great moments. The CGI is great, and there's a few very emotional moments that really I was able to invest myself in real people and the, obviously, CGI kaiju. So I guess I'd have to give this a 10 out of 10 as well.
Because we're saying like this is what we wanted to go see.
It's what they advertise.
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing. There's really no complaints.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I
have very minor.
I mean, obviously, this is the first night that we just saw it, so maybe our score will. I mean, your scores on your opinions on movies may change a little bit over time. So we may, if we want to like, maybe say what our opinions are later on, but it's not going to change that much. It may, I don't know. It's kind of what Angry Joe was saying. Like maybe it may sour on you, or maybe you may enjoy it more the more times you watch it. Like Man of Steel is for me.
I think I might actually enjoy this more because the next time, because you always have expectations for a movie, and once you can put those aside, you actually can like it more.
But yeah, so we both gave this movie a 10 out of 10. Definitely go check it out. and go support films like these. So thanks for watching our non-spoiler review of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and we'll see you guys in the spoiler section. Bye, guys.
Pretty slipping. Should stir it a little bit. Sit down really gently.